belongs to the citizens of Uganda. More of this on YPA TV this Tuesday at 9 a.m. program Legal Matters with me, Kansonisima Gloria. Hello, our dear viewers. I welcome you to a new episode of the Legal Matters. Here with me, Kansonisima Gloria. Today we're going to talk about everything land. And I would like you all to be so attentive because this is a very, very sensitive and broad aspect of the law. So this particular episode, we're going to learn all things about land. What is land, for starters? I'm sure most of you don't even know what's land. The key aspects of this particular law, we're going to also look at the different rights of a landowner. And we're also going to talk about the different laws that govern the land ownership. So today, there is so much I have for you in stock. And for starters, what we're going to look at is the land. The definition of land. I'm sure most of you think land is the ground, the soil where we move. And I'm here to inform you that land also covers things above the land, yes, above, and below the land, down, yes. Also, all that is land. So it's not mere soil where we walk and you have a plot of land and you said this is land, yes, because there are instances where someone Miners Act, these minerals belong to the state. Yes, I want you to look at that act. So now you know what land is. Yes, people out there, if you didn't know, because people, you can own land, you put your house, and then someone else comes and constructs something that's blocking or the air space above and it's blocking your view. All that is trespass, because this other part of the land where someone puts anything above your land, like people who put these the branding posters, all that, that person is actually trespassing on your land. And as a landowner, you have to know that these people are trespassing on your right to ownership. So when we look at land law, first of all, we have to know that the main law, or the mother law, which is the Constitution of Uganda, the 1995 Constitution, is the one that brings us to what land law is all about. Why? Because it clearly states in this Constitution that all land belongs to the citizens of Uganda. So if you're a citizen of Uganda out there, know that land belongs to you. Yes, the land of Uganda belongs to you. Whichever area where you purchased your plot of land, that land is vested in you because of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda. So when we go further, in this same Constitution, it protects several rights of a person, of a landowner. Yes, you have a right to ownership of land. You're going to own this land subject to the different land tenure systems. And these include, there is a freehold tenure, there is a milo tenure, there is the customary tenure, and then there is also the leasehold tenure, yes. So people out there, and you didn't know these different tenures of land, just know, you can own land subject to in accordance with all these tenures, like I've broken them down. However, this same article of the Constitution, it's subject to, there are some few exceptions to it. Why? Because there are instances where the government has to use your land for public use. So what am I talking about here? In these particular scenarios where the government has to construct a road, and this road is going to pass through your land. Good. So in this particular scenario, you don't have conclusive rights to this land. Why? Because government needs to use this land for public use. Yes, whereby they're going to construct a road, and all this is going to be for the benefit of the public. So in those instances, all all the government can do is to actually compensate you for the piece of land that they're going to use to maybe construct the road or construct anything that's going to be used for public use. So in case the government has forcefully taken part of your land without any compensation, know that they violated your rights to land ownership as per the Constitution. So I wanted to break down these particular tenures, like I've stated them, the freehold, the Milo, and the Milo, leasehold, and the customary tenure. I want to give you a brief background. So you see, before the advent of the colonialism, this is where before the coming of the colonialists, this land was owned customarily. Yes, land was owned customarily in a way that people used to live. Okay, it was owned customarily, subject to the customs and cultures of a particular community. Yes, so there was nothing like freehold where you're owning land as an individual in perpetuity. No, this land was owned as a community. Yes, and the laws that were governing this particular kind of setting were the customs and the cultures. So with that brief background, you now know that before the whole coming of the colonial government, the British colonial government, this land was owned like, let's say, Uganda. They used to own their land like a community as a whole. There was nothing like, I own this whole piece of land as me. No, it was not like that. Yes. So upon us getting our independence, that's when we get new laws. And one of these laws is, of course, the 1995 Constitution, which brings in that aspect of like, you can own land, owning it in accordance with the land tenure systems. Yes. So these land tenure systems, you have the Milo tenure system. And in this Milo tenure system, it was derived from the 1900 Buganda Agreement. This was an agreement that was signed between the British colonial government and this Milo system. In any other tribe, wherever, it's only in the Buganda, because that's where the 1900 Buganda Agreement was executed from. So these chiefs entered an agreement with the colonial government where they were given big portions of land as chiefs of Buganda, and then the colonial government, the rest of the land was vested in the British government as crown land. Yes, so it belonged to the British government. It was belonging to the British government, whereas this land was belonging to the Buganda chiefs. So the other people who are staying on this same land, the Milo land, were just mere, let me say, chibanja holders. Like your customer, you're not an owner, you're a chibanja holder. So they are subject to some sort of payment of rent on these people's land, the Milo owners' land. And the law that was governing these people was called the Busuju and Fuju law, and this law has since been repealed. Yes, however, like for you to live on these people's land, the Milo owners, you had to pay that Mfuju and Busulu. Yes, that was some sort of rent for you to be considered a tenant of those Milo owners. Yes, Milo land owners. So now you have a brief background about the Milo tenure, and this Milo tenure currently, you own land, like a person out there who has title, Milo land title. You hold land in perpetuity, yes, as a Milo owner. So someone out there who doesn't know how these certificates of title look like, I actually came along with a copy of one. And this is how a certificate of title looks like. Yes, you may be there. You don't know that even YPA, we have the real estate project where we sell genuine plots of land to people out there. Now you know. So I want you all to be people who are interested in purchasing land to know that we sell land and we give genuine titles. So for people who don't know how a certificate of title looks like, this is how a title looks like. So as a Milo owner, you could be a Milo owner or a freehold owner of land. And in this particular case, this one is a private Milo land title. So this certificate of title, we shall talk more about it in our next segment, since land is, like I explained, a very broad and wide topic. So as we've looked at the private Milo, as a private Milo land owner, you have to have a certificate of title, and you hold this land in perpetuity. As you hold this certificate of title, it's your conclusive proof of ownership. So if you have some people who are on your land, like squatters, those are customary tenants, and then you're entitled to be paid Suju and Efuju law. However, these laws have since been repealed. So, however, in some particular areas of Uganda, people still pay this Suju and Efuju law. Sorry, sort of payments, yeah, for these private Milo owners. Let's take a break and we'll come back shortly to look at the other different land tenure systems. Thank you. Did you know that every aspect of this life is governed by the law? As an
nga bulijjo amanya nze Kyozera William Wilberforce na Diope ku media zosobola okunsangako nga Chosen K. Williams. Olunaku olwaleero ndoze era mulaba ka background tusazeewo tujje tukyayiriko omu ku basponsors baffe. This is none other than Outspanned Nursery and Primary School. Leero gye tuli mukimanyi bulungi nti essaawa zino eno abaana era abaana basaba, abasaala ne basaala, abasiiba ne basiiba, abalokole ne basa, byonna naye ng'ekisinga obukulu nti omwana agenda ovaawo ng'abanguddwa. Ekyo kyennyini kyaba yeetaaga okubeera ng'akola ki, ng'ategeera. Sigenda suukawo ojja kukugamba nti omwana wo ku Outspanned Nursery and Primary School babeere nga bamubangula afuuke omuntu.
Kuva mu YPA. Brought by Outspanned Day and Boarding Primary.
Viewers, to our from that short break. So as I was explaining to you briefly about a different land tenure system, like we've looked broadly at the Milo tenure system. So now I'm going to shortly and briefly take you through the rest of the tenure systems, which is the freehold tenure system, the customary tenure system, and the leasehold. So for the freehold, this is where you own land in perpetuity. Yes, so for the freehold land owners, this is where you can own your land for the longest of time. This is land your future children, grandchildren, your children and grandchildren can still own through inheritance. So the freehold, you hold this land in perpetuity. And for freehold, you people have a certificate of title, like I've shown you. So that certificate of title clearly states this is a freehold land. This is freehold land. Like in the description of that land, it clearly says that this is freehold land. And of course, we are going to look at the certificate of title in detail, because there is that folio where there is that description of the land where they put that description of FRV, and that clearly states the freehold. So for freehold landowners, you have a certificate of title, and you hold this land in perpetuity. So I would definitely recommend everyone to go for that sort of land title. Yes, because all the other land titles are okay. However, for this particular one, you're going to hold land for forever. And all your children's children will inherit this sort of land, which also is the same case with a private Milo land. However, for the private Milo land, it's subject to the customary tenants, these vibanja holders. However, for the freehold tenure, you hold a huge chunk of land, a huge plot of land, and this land all belongs to you as the freehold land owner. Yes, hope that's very clear for the freeholds, for the freehold tenure system. This was also brought by the British colonial government. You know, during that time, they are bringing most of their systems upon their colonial states, the ones that had been colonized. So we also adopted that freehold land tenure system from our colonial masters, the colonial government. So I think that's very clear. And now we're going to look at the customary. For the customary tenure system, you're going to own this land subject to the customs and cultures of the to freehold land. It's also provided for under the Registration of Titles Act, yes, as we're going to look at the different laws. And in this particular case, you have to apply to the District Land Board of how to convert this land from customary to freehold. You have to be given that permission before you can convert it. And then you own a certificate of title, because the certificate of title is conclusive evidence that you're the owner of the land. Without the certificate of title, you could get so many issues with land ownership. Yes, that's why under the Registration of Titles Act, under Section 59, it clearly portrays that a person who has a certificate of title is a conclusive owner of this land, and this ownership is indefeasible. Yes, as clearly stated also in this case of Mugera Mulisa versus Tahwa. I don't know if you read that case. It clearly brings out that concept of land, of a person who has a certificate of title. It's the conclusive evidence that you actually of ownership of land. Yes, yeah. So for the customary aspect of land ownership, the customary land tenure, you own land, yes. However, this land is subject to the customs of the community. It's not easily actually sold or transferred because you don't have a certificate of title, so you're going to really get some sort of issues. That's why I would recommend that you go ahead and convert this land from customary to freehold. Yes, and the last aspect of the land tenure systems is the leasehold. So for the leasehold, this is where you are more like renting land. Let me call it that. This is the land tenure system where you ask the owner of land, let's say the Milo owner of land, the freehold owner of land, you rent from them their piece of land for a particular period of time. You're more like leasing. They're leasing out, they're renting to you their land, they're giving you that portion of land for a particular period of time. So you don't have all the exclusive rights as the Milo and freehold owner of land. So you hold it you don't hold it in perpetuity. So when your particular period of time, because all that is stated in the lease agreement, which you enter with the landowner, let's say the Milo or freehold owner. So you enter that leasehold agreement, it's going to state how much you're going to pay as your rent for leasing out this land, which is also going to state the period of time that you're going to be on this particular land. Let's say they've given you 10 years or 20, and this mainly applies to the non-citizens. Why? Because all land is vested in the citizens of Uganda. So if you're a non-citizen out there and you want to own land, of which, okay, for you cannot actually own land, all you can do is lease this land. Yes, all you can do is lease this land, and you can also go through the process of acquiring a lease title. However, after a period of time has expired, this lease title can be cancelled. Why? Because the other owner, unless it's renewed, yes, unless there is renewal of the lease agreement, this particular lease title is cancelled. Yes, and for the people who are leasing out this land, you have to also follow the terms of how you're supposed to use this land. You're not going to use the land for each and every activity you want. Let's say the land is used for residential purposes. For you want to carry out farming. that cannot be allowed. Anyway, it's all that goes under the lease agreement, like what you've agreed upon. Yes. And this lease agreement, okay, it's best to get the lease title because it can enable you get a mortgage in case you want to mortgage the land to get extra funds or something. You can use that lease title. However, you're supposed to clear all this before the expiry of your term of the lease, so that this land goes back to the original owner without those the mortgages and all. Yes. And yeah, so we've looked at all the different land tenure systems, and now maybe I can briefly talk about the certificate of title. So for this certificate of title, like I mentioned earlier, that is the one that shows conclusive. It's the conclusive evidence that you're actually the owner of land. Yes. So this is all provided under the Registration of Titles Act. So before anyone comes to you telling you like, I have this plot of land I want to sell to you, you have to ask them, is this land titled? And when you ask, is this land titled, that means, and they mention that yes, it's titled, then you have to ask for that certificate of title. Yes, things to do with land, of course, you cannot purchase land like you're purchasing mere vegetables on the streets. You have to go and carry out due diligence before you actually purchase this land. Yes, you have to make sure you do a land search. That's where you go to the Ministry of Lands. You fill in the details of this person. Then you fit, not the person, sorry. You fill in the description of the land, the details of the land, the location of the land, the county, the block number of the land, the plot, in case this person has availed you with the details. And you make a search in the system, because we have an online system where you can do that. You can do that search and find out actually who is the registered owner of this land. Because you find instances where someone convinces you that actually they are the owners, and yet when you go to the system, that is in the Ministry of Works and Transport, you find that this land is actually not registered in their name. So you make sure that you carry out all that due diligence before you purchase something as valuable as land. Because as you all know, land is the most valuable resource. Land can be used to carry out farming, land can be used for construction where someone can stay, land can be used to generally do a lot of things. So make sure for such an asset, you make sure you do a lot of due diligence. So people out there, in case you want to know more about the land, the certificate of title, we're going to break down how the certificate of title, the different features on the certificate of title, the block number, the plot number, the deed print, the different aspects of this certificate of title and how it looks like. Yes, yeah. And then, like I mentioned, the certificate of title, for starters, it falls under, for you to actually have a certificate of title, then you have the legal interest in land. And what do I mean by that? So when you have a legal interest in land, that land is registered. So the moment your land is registered, they issue you with a certificate of title, because that shows now you're the registered proprietor of that plot, specific plot of land. Yes. So for, like I mentioned, for someone who has such kind of proof of ownership, you have higher rights compared to a person who doesn't have such evidence. And who am I talking about? This is a person who has the equitable interest. Yes, equitable interest. This is more like you have land, however, this land is not registered. So the person who has the land title, the certificate of title, is more advantaged compared to you. And in the courts of law, they are considered more compared to you. Yes, you have an equitable interest, however, you're going to, for you to actually prove this, it's more of equity. Yes, it's more of equity, whereas this one is protected under the Registration of Titles Act. And for you who has an equitable interest, this one comes in where you've entered into an agreement, this person has sold to you land, and they've just issued you with the land sale agreement. Yes. So you as such an owner, your land sale agreement is not registered, if nothing is done, all you have is the equitable interest. So yes, you own the land, however, your interest is not as protected as a person who has a certificate of title. So I would really advise you, if you're out there and you're living on this plot of land and you've never taken time to go and register this land, please go to the, I'm going to explain better the procedure on how you can register your land and get the certificate of title. However, I would advise you to take all those particular steps. You have to, first of all, pay stamp duty. You have to enter this land sale agreement. This person selling to you land has to also sign, go through all the steps, because at the end of the day, when someone comes to claim land and they have that certificate of title, and for you, all you can present is a land sale agreement, they'll have an upper hand on you. Yes. Then also, people, like I mentioned, the customary landowners, if you want to convert your land to freehold, there is also a procedure in place for you to do that. Yes, we shall look more on this on our next segment. Our dear viewers out there, I'm sure most of you are landowners, and I want to give a big shout out to our YPA real estate clients out there, because you've really supported us, and we want to serve each and everyone. Please bring more of your friends, your relatives who want land. And yes, today we are learning more about land. People out there who don't know your rights as landowners, this is the show for you. Next time we shall talk more about the certificates of title, how you're going to get this title, what you're supposed to pay, how much is where you're supposed to take these documents while applying for this certificate of title. Till next time, Cantonissima Gloria. Bye. Land is the most valuable asset on planet Earth. The 1995 Constitution clearly states that all land belongs to the citizens of Uganda. More on this on YPA TV this Tuesday at 9 a.m. program Legal Matters with me, Cantonissima Gloria.